Welcome back to So Much More. On our last video, Callie was in Canada. The rest of us took the boat from Hampton to Washington, where we experienced some incredible storms, and now we get to explore Washington. Or do we?
Welcome. We're so glad you found us. We're the Greenshields family. Travel and adventure is a dream that came true in 2021. Circumstances in our lives over the past few years taught us that life is too short. We were tired of the rat race and burnt out. We wanted to do more, live more, and see more of the world our Creator made. In January of 2021, we sold our 50-acre hobby farm, and in April, we bought our 45-foot leopard catamaran we call So Much More. So far, we have traveled over 10,000 nautical miles. Be patient with us as we share our journey. Since moving on the boat, it has been a non-stop learning curve, especially since we had no sailing experience whatsoever. All things are possible, and we hope you follow along. Our goal is to inspire you to do and be so much more.
We're here hanging out at the wharf marina, just finishing the water top up. And I couldn't help but notice all the mallard ducks hanging out on the back of his boat. That's when you need a cat. This is beside the dinghy dock at the East Potomac Park, where we went to walk the dog all the time. As you can see, at high water, it often overrides the bank. East Potomac Park is quite beautiful. Enjoy walking the dog here. It's Japanese cherry blossom trees that in their season are quite beautiful. They're given to the United States from Japan in 1912, and the National Park Services has maintained them since. This is the Odyssey, one of the many tour boats that are sitting here in the Washington Channel. What's unusual about this one is the sheer size of it. It's quite long, and as it comes around, you'll find out it is extremely wide. I saw this when we came up the Potomac, and I didn't get a chance to take the picture of it, but I was just astounded at how wide this boat was. Just incredible. Our first week in Washington ended up being a blur. My mother threw out her hip, and we needed to get her to a chiropractor. Our cousin Bob graciously loaned us a car while we stayed here, which was fantastic because we needed to be able to get around. And I, of course, forgot to videotape most of it. And to cap off the entire week, by the end of it, my daughter was sick and throwing up. By the Monday morning, all four of us were sick, and not to take any chances, we quarantined for pretty much the rest of the month until Callie got back. So at least my wife was happy with me that we hadn't explored all of Washington without her. Callie returned home to us at the end of August, and of course our expression of joy was best shown by Tamina seeing her mistress after a month.
Come here, huh?
I had a number of people surprised that we wanted to spend the summer in Washington. We needed to get out of the way of hurricanes.
Yeah.
And Washington fits the bill. But what was one of the main reasons we even looked at Washington in the first place?
Because it was his fault! It all started in Deal. We were coming up, we just purchased the boat, we were making our way back to Canada, and we landed in Lewes, Delaware. And that picture is a picture of my cousin Robert Vince and I in Lewes, and he came out from Washington, Maryland area to visit us. And I had not seen Robert since I was a teenager. He and his new bride, Charmy, stopped by to visit us in Canada, and that was the last time I had seen him. Now, years later, Facebook started, and we reconnected and stayed in touch on Facebook. And so when we were in Lewes, he took the time to drive out and visit us. And through that conversation, his son Tommy was getting married in November. We were invited to come to the wedding, get reacquaint with family, and so that's what happened. We continued on our journey to Canada. We came back, and we landed in Deal, Maryland, where
For
we
the
were.
month of November.
Yeah, we were doing some upgrades and repairs to the boat. My cousin provided us with a vehicle. The kids and I helped set up the reception site, so he brought the car out. We did a quick drive through of downtown Washington. He took us by the White House, the Washington Monument, briefly on the Lincoln Memorial, and then we carried on. But while we were there, we did make the time we took a day, one of the last nice days in November, to go into Washington and see the Lincoln Memorial, and it was the Vietnam Memorial that we saw. So,
But we got a taste for it, and we wanted to come back and see the rest. And of course, Cousin Bob was there, and on top of that, the deal was sweetened with use of a car, which was just fantastic.
yeah, there's so much history. Being Canadians, we've learned a little bit of American history, but it's completely different when you can go to a place and explore it and get a sense of the history and learn so much more, and it puts things in perspective. We, as I said, we're a homeschooling family, and it's an opportunity for the kids to experience it. And I was absolutely blown away by the memorial. I'd seen it on TV. You see clips of it in the movie, but it just doesn't do it justice. It's massive. It's and Lincoln was, I don't know, did you say he was a character? He was a strong man of faith. Strong in his beliefs.
He was quite the character. I've read or listened to an autobiography. Yeah, he was entertaining. One of his quotes when he was in a debate, somebody accused him of being two-faced. And he looked at his accuser and basically said, "Sir, if I had another face, do you really think I'd be presenting this one right now?"
So, and the Vietnam Memorial, again, totally seeing it in person compared to on TV, just doesn't do it justice. And when we were there in November, there was some sort of function going on, but there was a lot of veterans there, and we got to talk to a few of them and hear their stories. And
not to mention my own Uncle Bob, who served 3 tours in Vietnam.
So that just whet our appetite, just seeing those 2 places. We also went to the Dallas Air and Space Museum.
Yes, but I'm not going to try and show that there. When we eventually start going back to our videos that we took from before Washington, we will work back and show some of them, and of course we'll have pictures on our website for whichever months we're displaying at the time. That's available to our supporters, people who choose to join the crew.
Yes. We're off to see some of the monuments. We're going to take you with us and give you a tour. I think we're hitting up Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King. We'll probably stop at the Lincoln Memorial.
I was going to curve over away from there and get some of the other ones that we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
There's Lincoln we did.
Yeah, we did that last November, but it's worth going again. Thomas Jefferson is one of the founding fathers of the United States. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. He was governor of Virginia, ambassador to France. He was Secretary of State under President George Washington, vice president under John Adams, and he became the 3rd president of the United States. He oversaw the Louisiana Purchase. He sent Lewis and Clark west to explore, and he died on July 4th, 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
the walk between monuments was quite beautiful.
As Canadians, we really knew very little about FDR. He was the president during the Depression, and that Daddy Warbucks and Annie visited FDR at the White House and said, "The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollars that tomorrow there'll be sun. Tomorrow, tomorrow, we love you." What we learned about FDR was that he was a New York State Senator. He was the Assistant Secretary of the Navy during World War I. He contracted polio while in Canada at his summer home. I'm sorry about that. He was the governor of New York. He was elected the 32nd President of the United States and served an unprecedented 4 terms in office and was the only president to do so from 1933 to 1945. The FDR Memorial is a timeline of his time in office. It is divided into 4 rooms, with each one telling his story. They seek to establish systems of government based on the regimentation of all human beings by a handful of individuals. Rulers call this a new order. It's not new, and it's not order. I have seen war on land and sea. I have seen blood running from the wounded. I have seen the dead in the mud. I have seen the cities destroyed. I have seen children starving. I have seen the agony of mothers and wives. I hate war.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
From Martin Luther King, we went to the World War II monument. It is quite impressive of how seamlessly they've incorporated it into the east end of the reflective pool with the Abraham Lincoln Monument on the west end. I didn't even realize it was there. I've got pictures going that way, taking pictures of the Washington Monument. And I said, it is quite something to see. Very beautifully done.
The White House. Once there's foreign nationals probably allowed to go. One thing I love about Washington, it's all the trees they have.
Join us next week. Scotty returns and we learn more about Washington, DC and get a bird's eye view. Follow us on Facebook, SV So Much More. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Or join our crew at svsomuchmore.ca and help support us. Be the first to see new content, chat with us anytime, and access to exclusive content. Again, that's www.svsomuchmore.ca.